The purpose of this video is to go over number 33A and 5.6. And really what we're dealing with here is the integral of an absolute value of a function. So we want to make sure that our answer is always positive here. So we're integrating from -2 to 2. We have to look at if this function is positive or negative on that interval. So one thing to recall, if I'm looking at a function, the absolute value of that can be replaced with the absolute, it could just be replaced with f of x as long as f of x is positive. But when f of x is negative, or in this case, f of x is less than 0, to replace f of x, I have to replace it with minus f of x. So a quick example, if I'm looking at like the absolute value of x, I'm going to replace that with x as long as x is positive, and minus x if x is negative. Because a negative times a negative is positive, and that's what the absolute value function is doing there. So on this example, if I graph this, e to the x function, let me go through my point there, e to the x function here, this is x equals 0, the function would end up being 1. Graphing e to the x minus 5, I'm going to shift that down 5 units. So drawing my horizontal asymptote, I have this function e to the x minus 5. So I need to find out where it's 0. Where does e to the x minus 5 equal 0? When e to the x equals 5, so when x equals ln of 5. And if I plug that in my calculator, I get approximately 1.609. So if I'm really looking at the interval from -2 to 2, this ln of 5 is at roughly 1.609. So now if I'm looking at from -2 to 1.609, or ln of 5, my function is below the x-axis. It's negative. And then from ln of 5 to 2, my function is positive. So breaking this up, I have the integral from -2 to ln of 5 as minus e to the x minus 5 dx plus the integral from ln of 5 to positive 2, and then I don't have to have anything in front of it because my function is positive on that interval. So then doing the calculus going through here, and make sure you distribute your negatives, make sure that you're very careful with what's going on, and then you get your answer. And if I remove that, I see my answer is approximately 13.62. So going through that, you should be able to always have a positive answer. Anytime you're integrating an absolute value function, your answer will always be positive. Any questions, just let me know, and hopefully this explains what's going on there.